I first read about the island in an old collector's magazine. The paper was yellowed, brittle with age, the kind of thing most people would throw away. But one sentence on the page wouldn't leave my mind. The 13th island isn't on any map, but it will find you. At first, I dismissed it as myth, a dramatic piece of folklore. But the more I thought about it, the more it lingered, like a whisper at the edge of my thoughts. I was a young journalist then, drawn to strange stories, obsessed with the unexplained. So I started digging deeper. Over time, I found dozens of threads, tales of lost ships, missing tourists, final GPS pings that just stopped. Each account eerily similar: unexpected silence, sudden fog, and complete disappearance. Eventually, I decided to see for myself. I boarded a small, sturdy vessel named Ocean Echo. Our route didn't appear on any official map. It was the kind of journey you'd only take if you weren't afraid of getting lost. Aside from me, there were a few other passengers: an older German couple, a Japanese researcher, an experienced photographer, and a young man who seemed like he was running from something. Most of them were friendly, curious, but none mentioned the island. Only the captain looked me in the eye when I asked, "You're really looking for the 13th island?" he asked, then paused. "Many search for it, but few return." I gave a nervous laugh, but inside a chill ran down my spine. On the fifth night, around 2 a.m., our compass started spinning wildly. Thick fog rolled in out of nowhere. The sea turned silent. GPS blinked out. Our radio failed. Still, no one panicked. It was as if we had entered a dream. Then, a blinding flash of light. The next thing I remember, I was lying on a shore. Not a soul in sight. A few minutes later, the others appeared, scattered across the beach. We were alive, but something had changed. The photographer began snapping pictures, calling the place a natural paradise. Others explored, fascinated by the island's untouched beauty. But I felt something was wrong. As I walked inland, a strange sense of déjà vu swept over me. I had never been here, yet everything seemed familiar, like a place I'd seen in a dream or a memory long buried. The island was stunning: tall trees, crystal clear water, gentle breeze. But there was no sound, no birds, no insects, no movement except the wind. It was too quiet, not peaceful, unnaturally still. Soon the group split up. I wandered deeper into the trees alone, and that's when I saw it: my childhood home, an exact replica. The same creaky steps, the same faded curtains in the windows. I approached slowly, trembling. When I knocked, no one answered. Then the door creaked open. My mother stepped out, but she didn't look at me. Her face was younger than I remembered, glowing, almost unreal. And just like that, she vanished. Inside, I heard my brother laughing. But my brother died 10 years ago. And that voice, it was so alive, so vivid, not like a ghost, like he was really there. I ran. Back at the beach, I found the others. All of them were shaken. The Japanese researcher had seen his mother, who died when he was a child. The German couple followed what they believed was their daughter into the jungle. She died years earlier. The photographer had taken a picture of himself as a little boy. Somehow it was on his camera roll. The sun began to set, and with it, the light disappeared. The island fell into a heavy silence. That night, I saw something else. Far off in the shadows, I saw someone watching me. At first, I thought it was another passenger, but then I realized it was me, dressed just like me, standing still, just watching. I shouted, It turned and walked into the trees. The next morning, I found an old journal in the forest. Its cover was cracked and moldy. Beside it lay a shattered compass and a pair of rusted glasses. The final page read, "This island is not outside of you. This island is inside. If you want to escape, you must find yourself first." That was when I understood. The island wasn't real, or maybe it was, but not in the way we thought. It wasn't a place, but a reflection, a mirror made of regret, guilt, grief, and things left unsaid. It showed you the memories you buried, the people you never said goodbye to, the feelings you tried to forget. Some would stay forever, but I wanted to leave. I stood in the middle of that ghostly jungle and shouted everything I had never said. To my mother, "I'm sorry I left." To my brother, "I wish I'd been there at the end." To myself, "I forgive you." Tears streamed down my face, and with every word I felt something lifting off my chest. Lighter, freer. Then I closed my eyes, and when I opened them, I was back on the boat. But I was alone, no sign of the others, no sound, just the journal beside me and a single slip of paper tucked into it. "You made it out, but you might return if you forget." I looked out across the water. In the distance, just for a second, I saw the island. Then the fog swallowed it whole. Maybe the 13th island does exist. Maybe it lives within each of us, in the guilt we carry, the love we lost, the apologies we never made. No one else can see it, but it's always watching. If you want peace, find yourself. If you don't, the island will find you. It's been a year since I returned from the island. At least, that's what I tell myself. On the surface, everything looks normal. I walk the same streets, I sit in the same cafes, but something deep within me changed. The air feels different. The silence is louder. The world seems familiar, yet slightly wrong. I no longer write articles. I no longer chase strange stories. I spend most nights sitting by my window, listening to the rain, waiting for a sound that I can't quite describe. It's always faint, just beneath the edge of hearing. Sometimes I wonder, did I really make it out of the island? Or did the island come back with me? At first, I tried to move on. I told myself I had imagined it, that it was a psychological reaction to trauma, stress, maybe a hallucination. But small things started to go wrong. It began with the photographs. One morning, I looked through my phone gallery and found a picture I hadn't taken. A shot of the forest from the island, the exact scene I had stood in when I saw my childhood home. Then my voice assistant began replying to questions I never asked. I'd be sleeping, and suddenly it would say, "You must return," or "She's still waiting." It got worse. One afternoon, I returned home to find my door wouldn't open. My key didn't work. I rang the bell and a stranger answered. He looked confused. "No one named Diana lives here," he said. I showed him my ID. He shut the door. At first, I thought I had the wrong building, but everything matched: the street, the number, the view, everything, except me. I went to my office. My ID card didn't work there either. My name was no longer on the staff list. My desk, occupied by someone else. My email account was deactivated. When I tried calling my bank, they told me my account was closed 3 months ago. I hadn't closed it. I hadn't changed addresses. I hadn't quit my job. It was as if I had been erased. Later that night, I sat in the park, stunned, watching people pass by. No one looked at me. No one noticed me. I started to feel like I was invisible. And then my phone lit up. A message from an unknown number. You thought you left, but the island never let you go. That night, I barely slept. I kept dreaming of fog, waves crashing, distant footsteps, and that voice, the one that sounds like mine, but not quite. The next morning, I met someone. He was waiting at my favorite bench in the park, the same one I always sat on. He looked up, eyes tired but knowing. I've been looking for you, he said. I was on that boat too. It was the quiet man from the crew, the one who barely spoke during the trip. He hadn't aged a day. His hair was the same, his clothes neat, but his face held the same confusion I felt. You feel it too, don't you? He asked. Like you're not real anymore? He invited me to his apartment. It was covered in maps, drawings, red string, news clippings, like he had been tracking something or maybe trying to prove to himself that it was all real. It's not just us, he said. I've found others, people who went to the island and came back, but never really returned. He showed me notes from survivors, people with stories almost identical to mine. They'd seen lost loved ones, relived forgotten memories, felt themselves slipping out of reality. But most terrifying of all, they were disappearing. One by one, each person he found either vanished or forgot who they were entirely. Some woke up with new names, others just walked into the sea and never came back. He looked at me and said, "The island wasn't a place. It was a threshold, a doorway, and we crossed it." "What happens now?" I asked him. He paused. "I don't know, but I think the island is growing. It's bleeding into our world." That night, I had the worst dream of all. I saw myself standing in the middle of the jungle again. Except this time, I wasn't alone. Around me stood dozens of copies of myself. Some crying, some whispering, all staring. And then they spoke in unison. We never left. I woke up screaming. My apartment lights were flickering. The mirror had fogged up, though no water was running. And drawn in the fog were the words, "Come home." The man I had spoken to disappeared the next day. His number went dead. His apartment was empty. No trace he had ever lived there. I was alone again. And then it started happening in the daytime. I would pass people on the street who looked just like me. Same clothes, same walk, same expression. They would glance at me, just briefly, and smile. A strange knowing smile. The worst part is I started to feel like I wasn't the original anymore, like maybe I was the reflection, or the shadow, or a version the island had let back out into the world. A copy made of memories and regret. I don't know what's real anymore. I've stopped trusting mirrors. I've stopped speaking to people unless they speak to me first. I don't sleep at night. I don't eat much. Sometimes I see places from the island in the middle of the city, a tree, a cabin, a patch of sand. They're never there when I look twice, but they feel real in the moment. One night I found a note slipped under my door. No handwriting, just a typed sentence. "You escaped, but you brought the island with you." I still have the journal, the one I found back there. Its pages are fading now, but the words remain. "This island is inside of you. I know that now, so I leave this recording behind. Not as proof, because I don't think anyone will believe me, but as a warning. If you ever find yourself walking in a fog with no clear path, if you hear your name whispered when no one's there, if you see yourself watching you from a distance and feel the sudden need to run, run, run and don't look back Because the 13th island doesn't want to be forgotten. And once it finds you, it never lets go.